Close your eyes and step back to 1995, a time of floppy disks, dial-up internet, and the golden age of turn-based strategy games. One of those pixelated gems that stood out and had the impact that would last for decades was a Heroes of Might and Magic, a strategic quest. It was more than a game. It was a gateway to a world of wizards, dragons, and heroic adventure. With its captivating blend of exploration, strategic combat, castle building, assembling armies of paladins and goblins, and guiding heroes through colorful squares, it felt truly magical. And for those of us who spent hours chasing the elusive victory screen, this magic is still there, decades later. I'm Veter, a game developer from Ukraine, and in this video I'm diving deep into the original Heroes of Might and Magic with you. This series is going to be my ambitious deep dive into the entire Heroes of Might and Magic franchise from the very beginning. There are also the Might and Magic RPG series and the King's Bounty predecessor, but those will be covered in the future. My plan to do a complete overview of the whole series with all the add-ons and most popular mods. As a game developer, I want to approach this not just as a player, but also from developer's perspective. We will explore the game mechanics, discuss what I would change or improve, and I will share my personal impressions. This is my first video, and I would love to hear from you. What would you like to hear more or less of? Game mechanics, my opinion, or other topics? Let me know in the comments, and I will use your feedback to shape my future videos. Thanks! If you want to play along, luckily there are a few legal ways to get your hands on Heroes, either a digital version on GOG or Ubisoft, or an original physical disc. If you want a disc, be careful because pirated copies are often sold on discs. I tested the GOG and Ubisoft versions, and both work perfectly, running through a DOS-box emulator. GOG's version comes with additional updates, goodies, and community forum that's great for troubleshooting. And there are no original digital Windows version available for purchases. A final note before we jump into the gameplay. If you play it yourself, be sure to keep the in-game volume turned all the way up and adjust the sound using your Windows mixer to avoid background noise in-game. For the DOS box, I have the default settings. If you are playing the Ubisoft version, make sure to change the resolution in the DOS box config. And if I make any mistakes in the video, I will be sure to correct them in a pinned comment or the video description. And I also created a Google Doc in which I present a lot of information and links to sites about heroes, where to buy them, and other related information. Link in description. For each video in this series, I will be setting a few goals. For this one, here's what we're going to do. Deep dive into the core game mechanics, play through the campaign, take a look at each of the game factions, share my overall thoughts on the game's design and what I would change. And finally, we will try out any existing mods and community maps if there are any in existence. Full disclosure, I have only played a couple of Heroes games before, but that's all about to change. My goal for this series is to explore every single game from the first one to the last and eventually compare all the key differences. This is a huge project and it's going to be a long journey, but I'm really looking forward to it. It's hard to know what to expect from a game made 3 decades ago. It's pretty much outdated by every modern standard. But that's part of the fun, ain't it? I'm going in with an open mind, so let's see how this 30 years old game holds up today. Let's start by talking about the campaign. The difference between the factions' campaigns is minor. You just starting on the same maps from different positions. Each of the 4 factions has 8 scenarios, but one of them is unique to each faction, And it's unique in the sense that you does not play that mission, making for a total of 9 distinct map scenarios overall. And as for the story, it's pretty much non-existent. You get a small snippet of text at the beginning of each mission, but that's it. Most of the lore is actually hidden away in the game's manual, and even then there's not much to get excited about. It's clear this game focus was on the gameplay, not the narrative. Yeah, we are getting way back when we're looking at graphics like this. Now, let's talk about the UI. From the designer perspective, this game gets it right from the beginning. You have all the critical information right there on your screen, the minimap, your heroes, castles, units and resources. All the buttons have simple intuitive images, so you instinctively know what they do. Even if you don't understand English, you can figure out how to play the game just by looking at the icons. It's a perfect example of UI that's designed to be clean, functional, and universally understandable. An impressive job made also with just a cursor when it's changing depending on what you do and what you interact. If you're gonna fight, if you're gonna just go, when you don't have ability to go somewhere, and when you can interact with something. It's very simple, but yet so much informative. You don't need any like tutorials or anything, you just start playing and you're gonna learn the game just by playing and how to play this game. Also, I can give one more point is it's very good that it has basically on everything descriptions, because some older games doesn't have descriptions for some items or skills, and you just need to understand yourself. This is one of the most important thing for a strategy game, is to be clear as possible, because players need to get into the game as quickly as possible, and when you understand the game you are having fun. When you don't understand the game, when you making mistakes and whatnot, it's really lowering your gaming experience, your happiness of playing the game and enjoyment of the game. So far game doing amazing job in this. Let's talk about the more technical aspects of the game, of how you get around the map. The entire map is a grid and we move through cells. Each turn we have set number of movement points for each hero. Your hero speed determined by your slowest creature in your hero army. There are different types of terrain, each with its own penalty. Moving diagonally requires plus 50 more points. Barbarian hero has no penalty movement on any terrain. Sorceress has double movement on water. There is also artifacts that helps with movement, but more about them later. Every neutral has a box around it that you can get through without attacking them, and they're also defending each interactable object around them. But Heroes doesn't have it. All you can do on the map is take resources, interact with different buildings and structures, and of course attack enemies. It sounds simple, but in reality it's not so easy to master. Now, let's look at this from the developer's point of view. The global map is one of the three major core mechanics of the game. It gives us the ability to explore the world, gather resources, and engage in combat. From a visual design standpoint, it's quite brilliant in its simplicity. The map is built basically on two-layer system. You have the ground layer and then a second layer of objects that are prioritized for rendering from the bottoms up. Something that can be visualized like this, for example. The entire map is divided into squares, which makes it easy to predict, navigate, and for the developers to create and design the maps. It's a simple game design on a surface, but this elegant simplicity is what gives us so many tactical possibilities and so much room for the strategic thinking. Well, enemies AI moving very fast, and it's quite very good that I'm playing it right now with a good PC, because I remember back in the day, in some games, even including Heroes, I wait several minutes for each AI to end its turn, and right now it's doing like basically in half a second. So I think it's quite a positive thing to play it right now. It's a bit strange that between choosing gold or XP there are yes or no. Before reading, you have no idea what you are choosing. But at least we can see images of what we are getting above the button. So it's kinda simple to remember visually this correlation. And I quite like how every single interaction in the game has its own unique voice sound. When you are playing, all the different sounds you hear give you a sense of pleasure on subconscious level. Every time you find a treasure chest or interact with a structure, you get a unique sound, which just keeps things from getting boring. The music is also fantastic. It's perfectly captured the atmosphere in every location, from tense epic feel of a battle to the calm vibe of being in a town. It's clear that a lot of thought and effort went into crafting an audio experience that immerses you completely. Oh, they make a big mistake. I have a big problem. I don't see where I'm going. Okay, so doing a little bit of research, I understand there is no in-game grid, only if you install some mods. This is just it. So, on to the battlefield. Battles take places on a six-sided grid, which we don't really see, but it's there. And the battles are in 5v5 creature format, and each creature takes turns depending on its speed and who attack first. There are ranged and melee units. In a melee combat, the attackers strike first and the defenders strike back. However, the second attacker will not get attacked back, as the unit can only retaliate once per turn, or if the attacker has the ability no retaliation. Ranged units have two aspects: a limited number of shots, but basically you'll never run out of them in one battle, and the next battle they will be replenished. And second, if there is an enemy unit within one square, they can shoot, and their melee damage is 2 times lower. And speaking of attributes, the attributes of the units that we have, it's attack and defense skill, damage and hit points, speed, morale and luck, and the number of units in the pack. And they also come in 1 cell or 2 cell width. And there are some units with special abilities. Attack and defense are summed up with our hero attack and defense, but we are get into what this actually means and calculated later. Each unit has its own damage and amount of hit points, and it's multiplied by the number of units in the pack. Positive moral gives a chance to move one more, and negative moral gives a chance to skip one turn. Positive luck gives a chance to do a double damage, and negative luck, well, negative luck does not exist. Although it's included in the game code, but it's impossible to get it by playing. Their number can be varied by many parameters, but mainly by the number of different factions of unit the hero has, items and visited structures. Speed is most confusing. It is responsible for what unit faster to start moving in the new turn, and also divided into 2 types, flying and non-flying units. Flying can fly across the entire map to any point, and non-flying go to the number of cells depending on their speed, from 1 to 3 respectively. Here is a reference card with all attributes and special abilities of all units if you are interested. There is also a combat magic, but there is a separate section that we're gonna get to. And about the grid mod will be closer to the end of the video about mods. Now, let's look at the combat system from a developer's point of view. This is second most important core mechanic in the game, and it also definitely the most complicated one. How to position your units, which spells to use and on whom to attack, and what the outcome will be. I'm pretty sure this is where most of the time and effort of the game development went. Although I don't see it as too difficult to create, everything is decently primitive. but there are countless nuances here and there. In my opinion, the most difficult part of all this is a balancing. Without it, the game would be one-sided, or too exploitative, and not very enjoyable. Yet, this game is a perfect example of how a lot of simple pieces, when put together bit by bit, create a wonderful tactical mind game for a player. New World Computing took a gamble on this design, and they definitely won. It was funny. That was easy. Now, let's talk about buildings. There are two types, castle and towns. Towns do not have walls or defensive towers. They produce 4 times less gold per day. They can have 1 or 2 levels of pre-built units, but they cannot build anything. However, they can be converted into castles for a certain cost. There are 4 different factions that all work on the same structure. Most buildings are similar, such as Mage Guild, Thief Guild, Tavern, Shipyard, and well. All of those buildings have the same effect for all factions. Each faction have 6 units, but they are not very balanced. Knights have no flying units, and one is the most useless in the game. They have only one ranged unit, and all of the units are very cheap. Warlock have 3 flying units, the strongest in the game, plus 1 ranged unit. They are the most expensive at their respective level. The fun part is that there is the big difference in the units and resources required. Each subsequent unit requires its own construction. Lastly, there is important function of hiring additional heroes. There isn't much to say about resources. There are 7 resources in total, and all of them are required for construction buildings. Some resources are also required for purchasing level 6 units. Gold is needed for buying all the units and upgrading structures. A few words to add about battles in Castle. The attacker is given a catapult that fires 1 per turn and can either damage or destroy part of the wall, and a tower to the defender that once per turn will shoot at random enemy. A new pack of each unit will also be provided at the beginning of each week. All of those elements come together to add a tremendous amount of depth to the game. I would consider this as to be the third core mechanic, and it's a huge part of what makes the game work. From a developer's perspective, this is where things get truly complicated. While the individual parts may not be difficult to create on their own, the highest priority is balancing them all. Every piece is tied together, and if you change one thing, it can affect everything else. The game design is a complex web of interconnected parts, and its success is a testament to how well those parts were balanced. And I know all this by my own experience. And also interesting thing that there is 6 different units and only 5 slots. So you can't have all the units that you can produce on your hero. It's also is kinda a little bit frustrating. Also, a little bit of frustrating thing is that you can't buy from one button all creatures that you have in your town. You only need to find them on the plane and buy them directly. So yeah, a little bit of a problem, but not really big one. I think they could have made the well a structure for quick unit purchases. It fits in very naturally, and it's the best way to do it. Even the entire UI is already done. I have no idea why they didn't make it. Maybe they were tight on time or something else. One thing that confused me is why the exit button from the town become locked when I click on the castle. I need to close the castle UI first before I can exit the town. I don't know if this was intentional or if there's a bug preventing that was lazy to fix and this was simple solution. I don't know. It's really fascinating actually. And where I just stuck. Come on, I just stuck. Now let's talk about heroes. Each hero has 4 parameters: attack, defense, spell power and knowledge. Attack and defense are added to the unit stats, while magic adds to the duration or power of a spell. Knowledge increases the number of spells that can be used before they need to be refreshed. Depending on the type of hero, stats will be distributed with each level, randomly depending on the type of hero. Heroes also have 14 slots for artifacts that can be found on the map. Artifacts vary, they add stats to the hero or give other useful properties. As the name suggests, heroes are one of the main features of the game, and what gives the gameplay so much of its depth. Without them, Heroes of Might and Magic would be just Might and Magic. I really want to include this joke. Would be just a simple strategy game about units, which wouldn't be that good as it right now. But heroes, attributes, artifacts, and unique spells are what turn every battle into a tactical mind game. No, not this! Not this! Just want to include this is a minor point, but a little bit frustrating. Sometimes on a map you have absolutely no idea who you're about to attack. It's a small detail, but being able to identify your enemy before a fight is a basic part of strategy, and sometimes we have problems like this. Why they look so funny? Yeah, the graphics in this game are quite peculiar. They place a strong emphasis on goofy fairy tale style. What the hell is this? The animations are also quite simple. Every action has 3 to 6 frames total, but it all looks pretty decent. There is not much to complain really about. Doesn't have any respect for me. What the hell is that? Okay, I shouldn't put him here. He can't get away from this position. What the hell is that? Oh, so I already complete. I didn't know that. What I can say in first hour of playing this game, it's pretty fun actually. Yeah, it's pretty simple, pretty, maybe can say like lack of content, but so far it still was kinda fun to learn the game in first scenario, and I'm gonna see how it's gonna go. But so far I'm pretty enjoying the game actually. With the first mission complete, it's time to move on to the next one. Let's see how things change. It's kind of strange to feel that Mage Guild has better quality of image than everything else on the map. It just stands out so much. There are 2 types of magic, global and combat based. Global magic is useful on the map, while combat-based magic affects only the battlefield. Global magic allows you to cast useful spells on the world map. Combat magic, on the other hand, can significantly impact the outcome of a battle. Magic ranges from level 1 to level 4, which is obtained from the corresponding level of the Mage Guild. In battle, you can use magic once per turn. You can use it to buff your unit, debuff the enemy unit, or deal pure damage to a unit. Using magic correctly can greatly impact the outcome of a battle. There's one more thing I want to point out, that this is probably the most unbalanced mechanic in the entire game. Honestly, I'm not sure they even tested it much. I'll get into all the details why I think so later on. Oh my god, that's a lot. By the way, it's interesting that enemies can have different stacks of same unit, but you, as a player, cannot do this. Now let's talk about those mysterious obelisks scattered across the world map. Each one you visit reveals a piece of hidden treasure map. When you finally assemble enough in order to understand where it is located, you can start digging to find a powerful artifact. This ultimate artifact is one of the most game-changing items you can find, giving your hero a massive plus 12 bonus to one of your hero main stats. The best and worst part, it cannot be stolen by enemy hero or you from enemy hero. If your enemy lose a battle while carrying it, the artifact is just got destroyed. And yes, enemy also can dig it up, so who gets it first, that one is gonna be far ahead. Quite strong, especially with high attack and defense. Actually, I by the way doesn't understand what attack skill and defense skill do. Does it increase hit points and damage or decrease enemy attack by some percent or flat value? I actually doesn't understand what does it do. Let's talk about attack and defense stats and their actual implications. If the attacker's attack stat is higher than defender's defense stat, the damage dealt is multiplied by the formula on the left with a maximum of x5. If the defender's defense stat is higher, then the damage dealt is multiplied by the formula on the right with a maximum of x0.2 or divided up to 5. I can go past this. This is kind of very bad battle map. This cannot be like this. Yeah, one of the things that started irritating me was the sheer amount of times that two grid-wide non-flying units, no matter where you place them, got stuck because of the crappy battle map. God damn, they need to do something with this, because this is awful. It's a bit strange that if you find artifacts and can't buy them or simply don't want them right now, they disappear. However, if you lose battle against the artifacts defenders, it doesn't disappear and you can try it again. It's kinda strange, really. It should be reverse, really. That was bad decision by him. Very poor decision. I don't know how I defend this. This is insane. It perfectly demonstrates how unexpected the game can be. You might look at the battle and think you got an easy win, but the reality is you might barely win or even lose by some miracle of a chance. It's this beautiful mix of simple mechanics and unpredictable outcomes that keeps the game engaging. And I would say this is what gives the game its charm. He just ran away. You can retreat or surrender. When you retreat, you lose your hero and their units. But when you surrender, you can get out of the battle without losing your current units that is left. But you're paying the price for that. This is a good addition to the game. It's agreed that you can get your hero back, but they should impose a penalty for a week or two because buying them out right away doesn't seem right because of balance and to make the consequence of losing a hero more meaningful. Why there is such a style with Minotaurs? What the heck is this? While editing this, I realized that Minotaur boots are literally the boots artifact for the hero, movement boots. After this, I checked all the other artifacts, but didn't find any copies like 1-in-1 with boots. It's kind of a funny find, really. I don't know, the designer probably got lazy for a moment and didn't want to create something completely new design, I don't know. But I can relate to this. Additionally, I found that the same image were used more often elsewhere, such as sword and shield in the unit information or the other artifacts in the character stats. No, you're kidding me. How much you can attack and attack again and again? Oh my god, again. They always attack my archers. 43, oh my god. The AI's targeting system has a major flaw. It's almost always prioritize ranged units, even when it's not the smartest tactical decision at all. From what I can tell, each unit has a set priority score, and the AI simply targets the unit with the highest score that's within its attack range. Needlessly to say, it's a very frustrating and bad system with a pretty big weaknesses that easy for a player to exploit. In my opinion, Castle Siege was made very poorly here. I don't know. Now let's talk about Castle Sieges. The system is incredibly simple and honestly it's pretty bad for the defender in many cases could be. Your non-flying units have no way to get out of the castle walls until the enemy has completely destroyed them. You get one tower for support and that's it. This makes defending a frustratingly passive experience, and it feels like the system kind of favors the attacker in some cases. What? What was that? Oh my god, I never think that there is a skill like that. Oh my god. What? Oh, fuck. No. This is like the most unfair skill in the entire game. It shouldn't be in the game. I just killing half of my entire stack because of this berserker skill, or I don't know what skill is this. The berserker skill is really insane. It makes any unit attack the nearest random unit. If the enemy spams weak heroes for one turn of the berserker skill, you can lose most of your army pretty fast. It's a very unbalanced skill. I wouldn't add it to the game at all, or with very high limitations to this. For example, that the unit with Berserker skill doing only 50% of damage, so 2 times less. Maybe that would be fine or something like this. It's funny how they go backwards. They can go backwards. This one was really strange. Why don't units have backward animations? You just mirror them and that's just it. All enemy units are mirrored, so they already have this feature. I have no idea why they didn't add this. I don't know, forget about that or just, I don't know, lazy, I don't know. Okay, you shouldn't go in a whirlpool. I now understand this. Well, 4 hours in, and so far hard to tell as I still enjoying because it's becoming more and more tedious, more and more same thing. They spamming heroes on all their money, they have all money, all the time. And it's becoming very, very annoying. Just running around and trying to kill each and single hero, enemy hero, this is just painful. And I only finished 2 scenarios. So the biggest problem in campaign so far is because there is basically no like goal. They basically give you a goal to take the town or win the entire game, defeat all enemies, take all towns or whatnot. It's basically just at the moment a sandbox. One of the things that saving a little bit, just a little bit sanity, it's that you can just put after battle and just go do your thing. The biggest problem is that you can't instantly after battle and end the battle. If that was the only problem, I would play it way more. But sitting and watching the entire battle all the time, and sometimes a lot of times you need also play it yourself, just getting tedious and annoying, more like this. There isn't much to tell or show in the third scenario. The goal is to dig up the artifact from Obelisk hints, and that's a win. I didn't find any new mechanics or features. From the first two scenarios, I learned everything about the game. They could have added some limitations to the first one or two missions in the campaign, such as only allowing units up to tier 4 in the first mission and adding the one more tier in the next scenarios. That would make the next scenario more exciting and intriguing for a player. But right now it's the same thing on a loop. If the game were near perfect, that would be a good thing. But with so many problems, it's all become tiresome. Вони все вкрали, кляті чорти. I learn of one more problem. The enemy can capture your castle and buy, technically steal, all your units. And when you recapture it, it will be empty. It's technically a calculated mechanic, but It was fucking sneaky. One of the many problematic things is that there are Armageddon and Storm skills that deal damage across the entire map. When an enemy hero is close to losing, they go into self-destruction mode and deal damage. Technically, you can spam any strong character to death with those spells, using weak characters. This needs to be nerfed so that you can't use it more than once on one character per week or once per week per faction, because abuse is insane with this. Well, alternatively, tie high level spells to high levels. For example, tier 4 skills could be used at hero level 10 and higher. That's actually probably gonna be the smartest idea to do this. So I'm ending my time with the campaign here, because honestly there is not much left to play for. It's time to experience the standard game mode, which is essentially a classic sandbox mode. The only objective is to defeat all your enemies on a map with no scripted scenarios. When you start a standard game, the difficulty settings affects your starting resources, while the AI intelligence affects how well the bots play and, to be honest, how badly they cheat. The color you choose doesn't affect anything, which is a little bit strange. But the biggest flaw here, and something I cannot excuse, is that there is no way to choose your faction at the start. You're giving a random one, which means if you want to play a specific faction, you have to restart the game over and over again until you get it. From a developer's perspective, this is just feels lazy. There's really no reason for this not to be an option. They just got really lazy here. What was that? One of the big problems that when I have some status effect, I doesn't understand what it do at all. I found a bug. When you attack a hero who is in a castle with units, the units in the castle automatically help the hero and fill the other slots. If the hero loses, all the remaining units in a castle automatically disappear. Now let's talk about the AI, artificial intelligence, bots, whatever we can call it. Creating a solid AI, even a simple one, is always a challenge in a game development. Always. And I have to say, this one is not very smart at all. On the global map, it will just ignore enemy heroes if it's weaker, and in battle it's even worse. The AI prioritizes units based on a simple points list, and it seems to follow a strict set of rules, which make its moves very predictable and also annoying. I rate this AI a 5 out of 10. It's not great, but it's a good foundation for us to compare to the AI in the later Heroes games in the far future, which I really hope they improve. After playing through the other factions, I've come to a clear conclusion. There is not much to add. All the factions feel quite similar, with each having its strengths and weaknesses. The dragons, for example, are insane, but they come at a huge cost. On the other hand, paladins weak, but they are very cheap and you get them very quickly. But in the end, they all feel balanced and useful in their own way. What's far more important than your faction is luck. A huge part of this game comes down to chance. From getting a good spell early on, to facing weak enemy monsters, to getting good artifacts. It's a game where you can be a great strategist, but the RNG can always throw a wrench in your plans. Really, the best thing they can possibly do is make the maximum amount of characters that you can buy per week is 2 or 3 maximum, but no, 2 is gonna be my absolute maximum for each faction. Because I see over and over like 3 characters, I kill 3 characters and the AI make 3 new characters instantly. And again and again and again and again. This is just so stupid. So there is a decent amount of problems in my opinion that's definitely lowering the enjoyment of the game. One of the most annoying one is absolute insane amount of heroes that enemies and basically everyone can buy. So okay, we know that the maximum number of heroes is 8 heroes, but it's still a big problem even if you can buy 8 heroes at one turn, spread them around and just annoy everyone. And managing and kill all of them is extremely annoying. So I would personally, first of all, probably decrease to 2 characters that you can hire per each week. Not even day, but week. Maximum 2 characters per week. Not 8 characters that you lose in one turn, and next turn you have 8 more characters that running on entire island. And when you have 300,000 gold, you can create basically 8 characters every turn for 10-12 days. And you need to go for hundreds of fights, unskippable fights, and run to each and every character and try to beat them. This is extremely painful and non-enjoyable whatsoever. So I would personally limit to how many characters you can buy per week. 2 maximum, I think it would be maximum. Second most annoying thing is when enemies just run around close to your city but they can't take it. If they very weak hero that just created it can't beat anything basically. It's just run around and taking all your mines and you can't do anything about it. Especially if you have a character limit, you either need to delete your character or and buy it somewhere else and do it again. But this is annoying. Bot doing this in seconds, in milliseconds, all this calculation. And like humans need to go and do this all this manually. Annoying experience and that's it. This is non-enjoyable, not a good mechanic, nothing. What I would personally do, that's mines are connected to city. So if you take a mine, you can't capture them unless you capture the city. So when you capture the city, they automatically goes to your faction, to your side, or you can capture them then. Not every single mine can be attached to any town or city, but make this that the closest one should definitely be attached, because there is no point giving up and wasting time creating characters that gonna go recapture them or whatnot. Or just don't do that because this is annoying and this is just time wasting. Third thing I would do is also made buildings like windmill also tied just to faction at least, because there is no point going each and every time every week for like 2 of random resources and or gold, if I'm not forgetting, to you just because you take it. There is no ever point to go to them and like having a character staying and taking. This is first of all time consuming, and second, this is very low efficiency to time consume to what you get after that. And fourth one, which also go to creatures that you can hire from houses, huts, log cabins and whatnot. Make them go to town or whatnot, because this is again time consuming, low efficiency, doesn't make much sense to this. At start, yes, but later it doesn't give you much whatsoever. So this is be way more efficient and helpful if it can be like make it easier, make it more accessible to player, because right now they are not worth to go and waste even like 20 seconds of your time, 10 seconds of your time. It's not worth it. So if just purely make those 4 changes, I think it would be way more enjoyable to play, way more, and way more fun, and I think I even could finish campaign, but right now this is painfully not worth it to just increase time for nothing. Just running around, recapturing all mines, try to hunt every single hero. It doesn't make much of a problem, it's just annoying. So yeah. Also, this is a very small things to do. It's not like you need to change half of the game or half of the code or anything. This is very simple and very easy things to code. There's no changing core mechanics or anything. A little bit of work and game would be way more enjoyable. Basically, like, or even like few days if code is like spaghetti code and you need to change a bit more things for it to work. If it's coded properly, it's even should be like as simple as, let's say, 1 day of work of programming. There is one final improvement I would suggest. The game is desperately needs an area of control blocking around heroes, similar to the boxes around neutral units but bigger. It's incredibly frustrating when enemy heroes just runs past you, calculating they can't win a direct fight. You then have to spend your turns chasing them down, which is a waste of time and movement points. Adding a box around your hero would completely block enemy heroes in some cases or force them to take a significant detour. You could also add a fear mechanic to the AI, where they prioritize avoiding powerful heroes, running away rather than simply ignoring and running past heroes. This would make the AI feel smarter and prevent that annoying cat and mouse chase. So, a bit about multiplayer. There are few ways to play with other people. The simplest is hot seat, in which you take turns playing on one PC. LAN emulation is another option, as it's playing online through the DOSBox modem emulator. I couldn't test this with anyone, but all the information I have found will be left in the Google Docs anyway. The game has a map editor that you can access through the GOG launcher or the game folder. You can create a random map, or you can create your own scenarios or challenge maps with all the necessary tools. If we get at least 100 likes on this video, I will create my own custom map, stream it, and make it available for download. Now, for the last, let's talk about mods. There are one worth mentioning, but it's for Windows version. It's harder to make it work with DOS version, and on top of that, on the second playtest, it stopped working, so it's really hard to recommend playing it. Although it's a better experience, with combat grid and fast combat speed, playing all fights faster make it less annoying, and the grid makes it more understandable. With this mod, I would rate it a solid 6. So, for conclusion, this game was released 30 years ago, and this is insane to think about how long ago this was. And its release was closer to beginning of the game era itself than to us right now. That's probably even more insane, because 1971 to 75 can be counted as start for electronic display gaming history, and that was like 20-25 years before Heroes 1 was released. And I would say that heroes have a reverse effect for me. The longer I play, the less I enjoy the game, because there are a lot of annoying things. If there were few changes and balance improvements for hero numbers and magic, the game would go for very mid to a good. And probably this is oldest game that I have played for so long. No regrets for playing, this is interesting experience and retrospective for me. My end rating would be like this. First hour would be 7, bots AI 5, the game with the mod would be 6, a little bit better with improvements in gameplay, and my overall and thoughts and rating would be 5 out of 10 in my opinion. I will not rate campaign or story because it does not really exist, or graphics because they are very old. I cannot objectively analyze it. But overall this will be a good start to compare to other heroes games in the series. This video really took me a long time to make, several months, and I was hoping to create in this time frame many videos, and I create only one. But I choose quality over quantity. It's a game where you can get a great. It's a game when you can be a great strategist. Again, it's a game when it's a game where. Hope you enjoy this, and I will try to improve myself in the next videos. I would really appreciate if you comment what you like or didn't like, or what was boring in your opinion in my video. Also, you can write in the comments your memories of Heroes of Might and Magic, if you have any. It will be immortalized here in this video for other people to read. Subscribe if you want my videos recommend to you in the future. Don't forget you can find the Google Doc with all the game purchase information and details and all the information sites I was using, link below. And feel free to join my Discord for information on future videos and other stuff. For the last, as a game developer myself, I want to leave you with one final thought. If you ever thought about making your own game like Heroes, I'd say the core mechanics are very straightforward and simple. With enough patience and determination, you could replicate the fundamentals relatively easily. You're not losing anything by trying it out, well, except time. But time matters most when you spend it with some meaning.